doing? Hello, everybody. Sorry, I am late. I'm actually doing like three devices right now, and I had updates on all three of them. So, thank you guys for being patient and tuning in. So, I'm going to actually go ahead and dive right in to our topic because I'm running late. So, I've been calling it the last couple of weeks um, mental health check in. So I've been quiet for like a while and I haven't been coming on doing any videos. I'm doing great, Miss Butterscotch. Um, Thanks for asking. So I wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about self reflection and building your self esteem after depression. And I know that I've been like really pressing on depression and different things lately here in my videos. That's because we're all here um, as the world's starting to open slowly back up. We are, some people have been suffering from depression and different anxiety. A lot of people have been eating, overeating, undereating. So I wanted to kind of dive into that because we're going back into the world, and once we hit going back into the world, there's probably going to be a few things that we as people or men, women are going to be feeling a little different about ourselves. Whether we've gained too much weight, lost too much weight, are we, you know, over the time, have we been drinking too much? Has that become a problem because people have been furloughed and working from home, dealing with the kids, dealing with spouses more than usual. So just a lot of things going on, right? So I just wanted to touch on a few things. Once again, my name is Tiffany Robinson. My original background is mental health. So I kind of want to utilize all of this now, which is something that I wanted to do in the beginning. I believe that herbs and mental health play a huge part together. So let's dive right in. And I wanted to go over just some common disorders of depression or just mental health, period, that some people could be suffering from. So the first one is going to be depression and mood disorders. These mental disorders are different than normal sadness or grief. They can cause extreme sadness, anger, or frustration. So if you have been experiencing that, your mood with depression and mood disorders can fluctuate. So you can sometimes be crying over emotion, over emotional. You can be feeling some type of grief. It can also cause sadness. Some people get angry because like I said, depending on the situation that you're in, depression and mood disorders can be like all over the place. So just wanted to touch on that. And you can get frustration. Frustration is one that I normally sometimes deal with when you get frustrated or you may feel overwhelmed. That's sometimes part of my depression or my mood disorder that I deal with sometimes. So just be mindful and look for those signs if you are suffering from any type of depression during COVID-19 and still being at home and the world's opening back up, okay? The second one is going to be anxiety. And if you watch my videos before, you know I've always touched on anxiety because anxiety is something that's serious. A lot of people suffer from it every single day, where some people, because of the weight of the world and everything that's going on right now, could just be experiencing it for the first time very heavily. So, anxiety disorder can cause excessive worry or fear at real or imagined situations. So, what that means is that when you're thinking ahead, whether it's something real or something that you just imagine may happen in the future, that's going to bring on your anxiety. Did you? Wow. Yeah. Anxiety is something that, you know, a lot of people deal with. So at the end of this, I do have a few herbs that will be great for you, Miss Butterscotch, if you're interested in learning about those. But yeah, so you're always thinking ahead. Your mind's probably a little racing. Um, where I can't breathe, and it makes me think I'm having a heart attack. Yes, yes, because then you're going into like the panic part of the anxiety. That's normal. That's normal. Have you always had it, or is this something that you're just now experiencing? So we're talking about right now, you guys, anxiety, the disorder, um, what causes it, what brings it on. And I was just talking to another person. She said that she was diagnosed with it recently. Yeah, sometimes it can be something new, and then sometimes it can always have been there, but you never actually notice those things, and it's probably just gotten worse over time. And sometimes the older we get, the more anxious we get too. We either get anxious, we get impatient, and all of those things sort of kind of come in play with each other when it comes to anxiety disorder. Yeah, so we can talk. We'll talk about that later, or I'll message you. Um, Another one that I wanted to talk about is going to be eating disorders. So everybody knows that I be on my tea all the time. Um, Over the last few months, and I'm gonna be honest, before COVID-19 actually really had everybody in the house and just you know, dealing with things, just getting started. I myself had literally, like, the whole month of February, I don't know what was going on with me, but I just felt super depressed in the whole month of February. March, I tried to bring myself out of the funk a little bit, and it worked. Um, Probably towards the end of March, it kind of started to slowly kick back in a little bit, and I was eating. When I say I was eating like everything that I could find, and I felt just extra hungry or never satisfied when I did eat. Um, I picked up weight, okay, to the point where I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So, eating disorder can be temporary only because that can tie into depression, okay? So, if you're at home, you're stuck on the couch, or you're stuck at your computer all day because your job has you there and you can't move for a little while, and you have all your snacks, and this is just with anybody that works like call center or sitting at their office or their cubicle most of their shift, you're gonna have snacks in your drawer or your desk. People carry healthy drinks, some people have unhealthy drinks. So the weight gain kind of is going to come because you're sitting down, you're not moving as much as you should be, and the weight's going to come. But because we're at home, if we're dealing with depression, we're either going to be overeating, which I was doing, or you're going to be undereating. And this disorder causes obsessive thoughts and behaviors related to food or body image. So if you're eating and you're worried about your body image, sometimes like me, I'll be like, I need to slow down because I'm gonna get a little chubby. My stomach is bulging over my pants. body image, sometimes when people think like that, they'll stop eating, or they'll eat and then they'll go throw it up, which is you have anorexia and different things like that. So we don't want to go into that too much, but I know a lot of people have just been eating a lot. PTSD is another one that I want to touch on, because a lot of people at home with their spouses, and they could just be in a abusive relationship, or the relationship probably ceased to decrease a little bit and they're working on it. But sometimes those people have PTSD. This is a disorder that can happen after a traumatic life event. I too suffer from that sometimes, not as much as I used to, but because I was in an abusive relationship before, sometimes I can go back and I can just there can be something that either I'm doing or my spouse is doing that can trigger that PTSD for me. And you can feel stress. You can feel really stressful, and you can feel really afraid. And sometimes these are the things that are happening to people that are in abusive relationships, whether it be men, women, or children, okay? Because they're stuck at home. They don't know the severity of what's going to happen. And even if they haven't been abused in a while, but just being in that close confinement with a person that is either verbally abusive, mentally abusive, or physically abusive, all of this can cause or trigger your PTSD, okay? Because you're going to be scared to say something or do something, or maybe move a certain way. Not feeling like maybe your life's in danger, but you're so afraid of, you're kind of like walking on eggshells around that person. So sometimes that can happen to people. Substance abuse and addiction, addictive disorders also can play in the pack with PTSD as well. Whether you're drinking, your spouse is drinking, you guys are stuck in the house with each other, all these emotions, because right now we've never been this, confined to one space with our spouses or our families. Remember, most of us are at work all the time, so we probably spend more time with our coworkers than we do anybody else in the house. So the relationship that you have at home, and still trying to get to know a person, because you could be married to a person for 15, 20 years, but guess what? When you're stuck in that house, and you guys are getting older, and patience is worn thinner, another side comes out, because that person's not getting out, you're not getting out, and it can cause different things. Drinking. Not saying that a person will be an alcoholic after COVID-19. I hope not. But the other ones was bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. But because we're talking about COVID-19 and we're talking about something that is not permanent, not a permanent disorder, just things that you could just be dealing with temporarily, I will not get too much into bipolar disorders or schizophrenia. But I will say that if you have not been diagnosed with bipolar, and you or your partner shows different types of alternating episodes of manic, high, extremes, and depression, sometimes that person can be suffering from bipolar. But once again, this is all temporarily, so this all kind of ties into depression, right? So I just wanted to touch on that. And let's dive into some things that we can try to do to help build ourselves a little bit with some like self-reflection, right? Give me a second. I had typed all this stuff out yesterday. So, self-reflection, you guys. So, once again, back to me calling this mental health check-in Thursday. So, I'm actually going to call it Therapy Thursday. So, I'll be coming on here every Thursday morning, and we're going to be talking about different topics on how we can either cope with everyday life with COVID-19, or we're just going to be talking about different subjects and topics and do different exercises together to where it's probably part of someone's everyday life and never have gotten treated for it, right? So, self-reflection. Sometimes with self-reflection, it's like looking in the mirror, right? And when you look in the mirror and you see that pimple, and you're like, I don't like that. So just imagine looking at that pimple that just appeared overnight, that it wasn't there yesterday, and you're trying to take care of that right away, right? Or if you didn't notice it and you go out to work or something and somebody else sees that pimple, and they tell you, oh, hey, you have a pimple, or there's a bump on your forehead, cheek, nose, whatever. And sometimes we don't like to be called out on our own shit, right? And sometimes it can be embarrassing. So that's just one part of self-reflection, because when we're looking in the mirror, we need to look deeper, right? In building our self-esteem, we have to know where's the ugly parts of us. We have to find those ugly parts of us to know how to rebuild ourselves. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good, brother. So yeah, we're talking about depression, building back our self-esteem, different things like that as women, men, children. So I was talking about self-reflection. So I wanted to talk about self-reflection because sometimes when we look at ourselves, we either don't see the things that other people see, whether that be behavior or attitudes, different habits that we have, maybe around the house or at work or around people. When we don't see those things and then other people don't call those things out, we will never know, right? The other part of self-reflection is that we know we have that issue, but because it's so ugly, we don't want to see it. So we don't want to address it, and we don't even want the other people that's in front of us to see it. And if they do see it, we get mad because we're like, that's my shit. Stop calling me out on it. I'll fix it when I fix it. So one of the things to going into self-reflection is knowing your why. Why is this your behavior? You know, why do you need to look at that part of your life, right? And if you don't know the whys, then you're not going to be able to overcome and actually look at yourself and actually try to fix it, right? So when you're asked the question of, like, what's your favorite food, and you tell them pizza, or what's your favorite thing that you like to do, and you say swimming, and a person asks you why, and you can throw a number of things out, like, it tastes good, I like the sauce, or I like the cheese, you know. What's your favorite thing to do and why? Oh, I like swimming. Why? Because I like being in the water. Why? Because I like floating. Why? Because it's fun. Those are not really, like, good answers to your whys. Like, you have to really dig deep and find out what your why is. So if I was to ask you as a kid, you know, why, that's how you're going to probably respond, because it tastes good, or like water, different things like that. So sometimes as an adult, we can definitely make different decisions, right? And with that, our decisions of our whys and our whys to our decision can sometimes have the lack of us not taking care of something early on in life. And this is the reason why I wanted to do an exercise with you guys today, because when I was in school for psychology, we used to do a timeline. So you can do it on a piece of paper, and you can say, hey, if you were born in 75 like me, so you want to do a timeline. So from 75 to 85, like, what can you remember between the time you was born till you were 10, right? And then you want to go, the next timeline is going to be the next 10 years, and then the next 10 years after that. Or if you want to shorten it, you can, so that you won't be overwhelmed. But I feel like 10 years is good, especially when you're starting from what happened to you between the time you were born to 10. I can think of a lot of things that happened to me by the time I was about 6 to about almost 11. So that's the reason why I chose the 10 years timeline for myself. And doing this timeline is actually going to be fun. So try doing it at home. So your timeline is going to look like this on a piece of paper, right? You're just going to draw a line. You're going to start here with your date here. Then you're going to go like 10 years here. And then you're going to kind of put stuff in there, or write stuff above or below each timeline slot, right? So when you're writing, you could be writing here, within 10 years, this is what happened. This is the things that I did. I hung out with cousins. I did blah, 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 blah. I smoked weed, or I drank a wine cooler, which I didn't smoke weed during that time, but my parents used to let me drink wine coolers, which is weird, right? So I can remember that. I can also remember my mom's mother living with us for a time period in a house across the street from my aunt. And I can also remember my aunt across the street from us used to have a candy store, and we used to either go help out, or we used to go purchase candies, snow cones, pickles, blah, 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 all that stuff. So when you're doing your timeline, write all the stuff down here, up or above your line. So you want to write stuff just kind of down. So this is going to be your first 10-year timeline, your second 10-year timeline, and so on and so forth, okay? So when you're doing that, you're going to be amazed at how many things you probably remembered, or how many things that you probably forgot that happened in your life. And when you're probably like 20, 30 years in, you're going to be like, wait, hold on. Because something's going to happen to you along that line, 20, 30 years, and you'll be like, wait, hey, that wasn't my first time doing that, or my second time doing that. Boom. I actually did that probably like in the 10 years before. So you're going to be surprised at all the little things that you're going to remember by doing this timeline. And it's a great exercise. And when I come back on Thursday, I kind of want us to share, I mean, you'll have to go into the severity of it, but just share and see how fun it is for you, and how you felt actually going back and recapping on that. This is part of self-reflection, because you're going to go back and you're going to find, hey, where I messed up. Why am I still carrying this? Or why am I still doing this? You're going to find out when it happened, why it happened, and if it's something that was traumatic to you, or something that was life-changing, circle it. How did you feel during that time, right? And if you felt crazy, if it was crazy and you felt a certain way during that time, does that still resonate with you today? Have you let it go? You know, were you abused as a child? You know, when did it start? Is it something that you hold, you know, in you? You know, did your father leave you at an early age and you never knew your father? Write those things down, because sometimes we hold all this stuff in, and sometimes we don't know how to let go. And because we've been holding it for so long, it creates certain behaviors in us, right? And later down the line, that can also have a huge outcome of who we really are. You know, why do we make the same mistakes that we've been making? Or why do we feel this? Why do we have ups and downs? Why do we feel pretty one day or for 2 months, and then boom, I don't feel that same way. I'm not that same person. You know, have things been stripped from you? Are you not the same person because of a person that you're with? All kinds of stuff, you know. Or it could have been the person before that. If you don't know who you are because it's been stripped from you so much, you have to take your life back at some point. You have to figure out who you are. And figuring out who you are requires you to have to go back sometimes and face that ugly part of you that you still carry with you. Does that make sense? Can I get an amen on that one? Right? So, let's jump into herbs that is definitely going to help you when you're feeling down, depressed, something that's going to help lift your mood a little bit, help you get out of that funk just a little bit. And I want to call them self-loving herbs because although they don't make you feel like extra self-loving, but what they can do is put you in a better mood. And maybe you can tackle some of those areas as you're sipping the tea or whatever, or drinking on this herb, to help you more reflect on certain things. One of my favorites that I am going to talk about is going to be Blue Lotus. That one is a really good flower if you are a meditator and you want to go into a deep meditative state. Blue Lotus is a great one to have. It's a tea. It comes in tea form. We do carry it. I don't talk about it as much because it kind of, it's more like if you were to smoke marijuana or drink something that has THC in it. And it really helps calm you. It really helps you connect with you. But that is one of the ones that I wanted to talk about. But lemon balm. Lemon balm actually helps relieve stress and anxiety in social situations. And remember, we just talked about PTSD. So lemon balm will actually be a great one to actually drink. You can drink lemon balm by itself. It's a great tea. I love the way it smells. It helps with stress. It helps with anxiety. It makes you feel more confident. You can use it fresh. You can use it dry. I use it in a lot of my blends. It's just a wonderful, wonderful herb to go to when you're feeling anxiety. Miss Butterscotch, that would be a good one for you. It's going to be, it's called Melissa, but popularly known as lemon balm. Another one is going to be valerian root. Now, I use lemon balm and valerian root in my Dream on Sugar tea. That one is a really good tea to have. I love the tea. I love the fragrance of, like, I love when I open up the container or when I'm mixing this tea. It's just so amazing. Um, so that has all your relaxing herbs in there, from lavender to chamomile to valerian root to lemon balm. So it has everything in there that you need to, and you don't even have to really drink it. I mean, because it's going to help you sleep. It's going to help you relax. It's going to help you feel really good. But Dream on Sugar is a hands down one of our best teas to have by your bedside, if you, or just during out the day. But valerian root, it reduces feelings of low self-esteem. So that's the one reason why I use it with lemon balm, because these are going to be your self-loving, build up your self-esteem herbs. And this is the reason why I use those two together. Valerian root comes, you can do it in a capsule. I do mine in a tea. I do it in a tincture. It helps calm the nervous system. You can perform better. You feel more confident. It's a really good herb to have, right? So Siberian ginseng is also a very beautiful one to use. I've actually just started using ginseng in some things, only because I wanted to play around with it. Some stuff with my husband because of his low energy, because of working so much. We wanted to try something different to boost up his energy, and it seems to be working. He says that it's working, and we're going to be moving forward with that as well. So so Siberian ginseng is a wonderful herbal supplement for boosting your energy and raising your higher vibration senses of well-being. So like I said, very, very good one to have. Also, peppermint. Peppermint is good because of the menthol part of it. Excuse me, you guys. Because of the mentholatum part, it helps soothe you. I like to mix my spearmint and my peppermint together, because that's going to give it a little bit more for me to relax. So if you want to mix the two together, you always can. Another one that I use all the time is going to be red clover tea. Is wonderful for concentration, and I use that in my She Balance. And the reason why I use it in She Balance is actually for women who have, from menstrual cramps to bloating to headaches to all of that good stuff. Boom. I use that red clover in there for people that are going through menopause, for one. And if you have, when you're on your menstrual and you're kind of cranky, that red clover actually helps wonderfully for women. My daughter uses it because she's and she's 13. So I can just imagine without it, it's not going to work out, us being in the house together. But anyways, red clover is good. It helps concentrate. It gives you a better mood. You can use this as a tea, which I do. The next one is dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is not an herb, but however, it boosts confidence. So, you know how people just want to eat chocolate ice cream or chocolate covered strawberries. It makes you feel good, makes you feel beautiful, blah, 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 all that good stuff, right? Dark chocolate actually helps boost your mood. And if you're going to go for hot chocolate, go for, I say hot chocolate? I meant dark chocolate. Go for something like that is more chocolatey, I guess. I don't really eat chocolate, but I know that if your chocolate level, if it's more like 70% cocoa or something like that, it actually helps with different things like blood pressure and all that stuff. So try eating some chocolate. Don't try to eat too much chocolate ice cream if that's what you're going for with chocolate. It's pertaining to like literally chocolate, like real chocolate. Okay. So this is our Thursday, our therapy Thursday, which was fun for me. This is probably the longest I've actually been on live, so it was actually fun. So you're going to see more of me for our therapy Thursdays. Make sure if you are watching this live or you're going to be watching this later, make sure you guys do that exercise, because I want to see how many people actually do this exercise with the timeline. And when we come back next week, whoever does it, I'm going to be giving out our new CBD blend, which I am about to sip right now, which is, it looks good, right? So it's hibiscus, roses, lavender, and some CBD flower. So I'm excited I haven't made a name for it yet, but our 5 people will get a 1 ounce blend of this CBD if they actually do the exercise. So do the exercise, you guys. Do that timeline exercise. It's going to be fun. We're going to come back on next Thursday, recap, see how everybody's doing, mental health check-in, and we're going to have fun, all right? And it was fun chatting with you guys, being live with you all, and see you guys next Thursday. Don't forget to check out our website, which is www.thetspot, which is spelled TheTespot.com. We got CBD blends on there. We have that Dream on Sugar on there that I was just talking about. We have a bunch of wonderful herb blends, different stuff. You'll love it. Go there. We also have some great accessories. Check us out on YouTube at The T-Spot, spelled the same way. TheTespot. Okay? And thanks again. Love you guys, and thank you for joining the T-Spot tribe. Bye.